Hey guys, welcome back to Dental Unfiltered. I'm Matt Brown. I'm here with my normal co-host, Dr. Andrew Vallo. Feels like we haven't recorded in a little bit. Um, it's we kind of pre-recorded this summer and got to where we are now, which was nice. So we have a really good episode for you guys today. The episode is Grow to Give, and it's about practices. Dentists are very charitable people. Almost every practice I have has a charity that they sponsor. From actually a lot of ones like Dr. Vallo has that involve around pets. I had a really interesting dentist in Tennessee who was really into like climbing and like mountain biking. He like donated to a trail, to maintain trails in his region. A lot of times these things come from a point of passion. I have another doc who's down in Florida, USA Dental. They do a certain amount of dental work a year for free on veterans, which is really cool. So I find a lot of practices and groups have something like this. I think it's really critical. I think it's awesome to contribute back to the community. So Dr. Vallo has a really good one he's proud of, which deals with the Humane Society. And, having 10 practices, he's fueling a lot for them. So Doc, tell me about, what your motivation is and why you decided to, why do you pick that charity? Why was it personal to you? Because I think the charity should be personal to the practice owner. So there's a passion there and a love.
Guys, I think this is going to be a really impactful episode today, and it's actually one I was asked to do. So a dentist that I've gotten to know pretty well over social media had reached out to me and said, hey, I'd love to learn more about your No Hungry Pets program that you do. I feel like you've maybe mentioned it in an episode or two, but you guys haven't really done an episode or dug deep. I'd love to learn more. I said, hey, that's a great idea. I'd be happy to kind of share what we're doing with them. So let's go back to why do we give? Why are we growing? I think there's a big taboo on money, on revenue. There's a lot of dentists that I think try to hide numbers from their team. They don't want the team to know what the practice numbers are doing.
Production collections is,
Yeah. So I think just because it's taboo, it's like people feel like it's looked down upon to be successful or make money. I always tell our team, the more that we get, the more we can give. So the more we grow, the bigger our revenue, the bigger our productions, the bigger our profitability, the bigger our profit margins are, the more we're able to give, the more I'm able to give our team, the more benefits. Every single year we've added a major benefit for our group. And it's because we've grown the way we have that we've been able to do that. So at this point in time, I'm proud to say, our team are some of the best compensated when you factor in base pay, bonuses, benefits. And that's what I wanted to get to. When we first started, I didn't have the ability to compensate our teams as well when we were one small startup, kind of barely getting going. But at this point in time with a larger group, we're able to offer much better compensation packages to our team. We're able to take care of them better. We've got, awesome growth tracks going on. We're also able to take care and serve more people. So, the bigger you get, the more people you can serve, the more smiles you can fix. We've done some cool give backs, some charity cases, some giveaways, but we also want to have an impact on the community. And so that, the No Hungry Pets program, we did that in partnership with the Humane Society of Tampa Bay. And we actually did launch that simultaneously with us launching our first startup practice, Dental Boutique Westchase. At that point in time, my wife and I, we knew we wanted to give back to some cause. I will say this is an idea that's kind of brewed through working with Ideal Practices. So it's not like they force you to do it, but it is something that they kind of plant the seed in your head. Hey, we think it's great when you can launch a business and also have ties to the community, give back to the community. We recommend trying to find some cause that you're passionate about. So again, not saying that you have to, form a charitable cause if you work with Ideal Practices, but they think it's a good idea. They recommend it. And so it really got us thinking about it. And for my wife and I, we're big pet lovers. We're big dog lovers. We had, at that point, fairly recently adopted a Labradoodle. His name's Samson. We were his third owners. He was 18 months old when we adopted him. And at that point in time, he was malnourished. You could see his ribs. He had all these patches of bare skin, basically because of the malnourishment. And, he had abandonment issues because he had been abandoned by his, first couple owners there in his first 18 months of life. So, Samson quickly became a part of our family. We really grew to love him very fast. And we thought, what better way to give back than, in spirit of Samson's story. And if we can partner with some kind of, animal rescue to give back, to donate maybe like dog food or something like that to help feed the homeless pets, we thought that could be, really impactful. So we reached out to a couple, local animal charity rescues, things like that. We ended up making a connection with the Humane Society of Tampa Bay, and they've been incredible partners over the last 4 years. And so basically what we dedicated to do is we dedicated that every new patient that our office sees, we're going to donate a month's worth of dog food to the Humane Society. And that will help them feed the pets they have in house. But they also have a community outreach program where they will actually bring and donate dog food to owners who are struggling financially but don't want to give up their pets. So basically, if people kind of reach out and they're like, hey, I'm having trouble, right now affording a good life for my dog or my cat, rather than taking the animal in, they'll first try to see if they can help out by, giving them food, maybe giving them like free medicine, things like that. So we're able to help sponsor both in-house for the Humane Society as well as their outreach program in the community. So
yeah, I think what's interesting, and this is kind of like a side topic, but it's kind of is in dentistry, like you talked about how the money is like taboo, right? I feel like there is a thing where people romanticize being like a single practice with limited resources and making it happen, and people villainize like your scenario, the emerging group, 10 and 3 years, like how good can the dentistry be? Like, there's always like a place in there where they find like they try to justify why you're bad, right? And they're good. And part of it, you know what I mean? And part of it I've always said is like, I wish Bob D was on here with us. He actually went on pretty bad. He'd be really good for this conversation. I feel like people sometimes like kind of villainize those groups. Let me tell you what, a lot of innovation and a lot of stuff and a lot of money has come out of the big DSOs and developed a lot. And, they can give more. They just can. And I don't think it's worth villainizing. I think we have to understand, like, there's, both are necessary in the market, and groups you can give more than anyone else can. You have more resources to invest in staff. You have more resources to go do things. So, the charity thing is pretty awesome. And dentists kind of tend to be at least the dentists I deal with, a lot of the startups and a lot of the newer, younger dentists are very charitable because they're passionate about different subjects. And do you think that's kind of been like a newer trend the last 10 years? Because a lot of my older docs that have been practicing 15, 20 years don't necessarily have a charity. But when I go into docs that are like your age bracket and your time period from school, they all almost have a wall in their lobby somewhere with a charity on it. So do you think that's a new development, Andrew? Or do you think that's kind of like, because it seems like it's been a newer trend with younger docs?
I don't know if it's been a new trend per se. I guess in all honesty, man, I don't know that many older docs that well. So I mean, there's some that I kind of know from some of my mastermind groups, but even there, I would say the docs that I know best tend to be in my general age range, young 30s, maybe early to mid 40s type of a thing. I think maybe older older generations had a different way of giving back. But I feel like, things like free dental days and mission trips and things like that have been popular for a long. I think there's a lot of different ways to give back. So I don't think it necessarily has to be, monetary contributions. I think we can give our time as well. And it probably just depends on, what stage in your career you're at and what resource you're most able to give. For me, time has been a tougher thing for me to give just because things have been so busy, even in the sense of, man, I get so many docs reaching out. Hey, can I pick your brain? Hey, can we jump on a call? Hey, I'm going to be in Tampa. Can, we meet for lunch or whatever it is. And I feel bad, but like I have to say no way more often than I say yes. And it's just because things are so busy that my time is my most valuable resource right now. And the free time I have, I really do my best to dedicate it to my family.
Well, that's kind of the most important giving because charity kind of starts at home. So like that's kind of that first investment.
I'm just saying at this point in my career, it's easier for me to donate money and to, help fund programs and things like that. It's harder for me to donate time. I've got, buddies that are trying to plan a mission trip. And I've never done one of those. And it's always kind of been something in the back of my mind. Hey, I think I'd like to do this. I think I'd enjoy it, especially now that I'm out of the chair. I think it'd be a really good way for me to kind of keep in tune with dentistry would be to do some of this volunteer dentistry, some of this mission work. But again, most of the time when they're doing these mission trips, they're gone for at least a week. And it's tough for me to kind of figure out how to best fit that in my schedule. But I think just like we've talked about in other episodes, there's seasons in your career. I think right now I'm still kind of in that grind season. I've maybe transitioned a little bit over the last, year or so, but I'm still pretty heavy in that growth phase, that grind phase. My hope is as I start to get out of that phase a little bit more, as I start to have a little bit more time, I will be able to give more of my time to people. So that may be a transition, later in my career as well.
The mission trips are always cool to me. I see a lot of docs post those. Zach Shelley, who's over on Management Unfiltered, our sister show on the same channel, he did one to, I think it was Senegal or somewhere in Africa. He did a mission trip, and he said it was really rewarding and amazing because these people don't get access to dental care. I think are in a unique position compared to most of the American population where not you, but most dentists are working a 3-day work week. They have 4 days off, they have time off more than most, and they have resources. So I think I think dentists they tend to be very service oriented people. I think you guys are really service oriented. Like you guys go through all the schooling, and I think you guys get really focused on like, how do I help the patient? I think that bleeds over to how do I help other people? How do I help anything in need or any other charity? And then when you have the resources and the time collide, probably a bigger impact than the general American that has limited resources, like $200,000 a year household goes and hands out food at the food bank. That's awesome. Dentist goes and funds the food for the food bank. You know what I mean? I think it's very impactful, the power you guys have, and because you guys have excess resources and time, generally, not you, but most people have both, which I think really kind of positions you guys with the passion to serve, kind of is a recipe for like a really charitable individual.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would single out dentists necessarily. I think it's just part of human nature where a lot of people do feel that calling to give back. And again, it can be in any form or fashion. I think sometimes we also struggle with feeling like we're not giving enough. Just before now about the whole time thing and how I feel guilty saying no to so many dentists about helping them out. But I guess in all fairness, time give is this podcast. We've given hundreds of hours over the last 2 years or so to this podcast. No sponsors, no payments, nothing like that. This kind of is my way from a time perspective of trying to pay it forward to the dental community as well. I think it's human nature to always feel like I could do more, we could do more. And that we're kind of getting off on a tangent here, but I do think this is important, as we talk about mental health and self-worth and, all that stuff. I think we often are hard on ourselves. I do think, those that are maybe in the high achiever category tend to struggle with this even more, but it's like, you never feel like what you do is enough. And I know I struggle with that sometimes. I try to work on it, but you feel like you want to do everything 100%. You want to be 100% the best husband, the best dad you can be. You want to be 100% the best friend you can be. You want to be 100% the best dentist, the best boss, the best leader, the most charitable. But guys, we only have so many hours in the day. We only have so much bandwidth. We only have so much thinking power. We only have so much to give. And I do think we have to be protective of our time and resources. And we have to sometimes not be so hard on ourselves and realize like, hey, we're doing a pretty damn good job. So, maybe that's me speaking to myself and also, to all you other high achievers out there, stop being so hard on yourselves.
I think there's a point of like, the whole dental burnout thing is always talked about. And if you're giving a ton of your time to a charity and a ton of time to your family and a ton of time to your practice, there really isn't a lot of time left for yourself. And when you say protecting your resources, like it's not just financial resources, it's your time resources. It's like how much time you're dedicating, how much you're giving to yourself before you give to others. Like charity kind of starts drop zone target with you, then kind of moves outward. And I think you have to make sure, like you just said, like you're protecting certain resources. I think you got to protect your personal time, even if it's just your time by yourself to work on you, aside from like when you go to the gym every morning. Whoever goes to the gym, I go to jiu-jitsu 3 days a week, and then take care of your family and your practice, and then give out to the community. I find that I'm pretty charitable. I mostly focus on veterans charities. I'm involved in two. And, there is a selfish point to it where it makes you feel good about yourself. There's a reason why you do it.
Oh, man, I feel guilty going to the gym every day. If I don't get up and go at like 5:20 in the morning, like I like to do, if I go a little bit later in the morning, I feel guilty about it because I'm thinking that's either time I could have been working on the business so I can come home earlier, or that's time I could have been spending at home in the morning, with my son. So I think you're right. Even those things that, we do to try to be better, to better ourselves. Let's put a pause on this conversation. I think that could be another good podcast for us in the future, just talking about mental health and self-worth and, perfectionism, being too hard on ourselves. I think there's a lot to unpack there that could be helpful for our audience. But I want to kind of steer this conversation back to, the topic of this episode, which is, growing your business so that you can give back. And I want to give, like always, guys, I want to give you guys, some tactful advice, like donations here or there. You sponsor the local school. But you're like, man, I really would love to do some kind of program. I'd love to found a program like the No Hungry Pets program. Sit down with, your spouse, sit down with your team. Think about what is really important to you. Maybe come up with a couple different ideas and try to start researching or reaching out to groups that you could partner with that are going to have meaning to you. Because I think it's going to be a lot more impactful. You're going to get a lot more out of it if you pick a cause that truly is close to your heart than if you just pick something at random. Do some brainstorming, do some soul searching, whether it is animals, whether it's kids, it's, trying to help the impoverished, disabilities, whatever is a cause close to your heart that you feel like you really want to take charge of. Start doing some research, reach out to these groups. You can just basically, find the outreach coordinators. You can send them an email and say, hey, I'm a dentist. I'm a local business owner. I've been looking for a great cause to partner with. I want to give back more to our community. I have some ideas. What are your thoughts on this? And that's essentially what I did. When we reached out, when we talked to the Humane Society, I emailed their outreach coordinator. And I said, hey, I'm opening a startup dental practice. And in unison with that, I would really love to launch a give back program. I'd love to partner with the Humane Society. I love what you guys are about. This is our story. This is Samson's story. I'd like to help support dogs like Samson. And we talked like, what does a month of food cost? They're obviously getting deals on it, buying in bulk, all that stuff. Figure out what the cost is going to be. I would caution you, especially if you're early on, in your business, in your career, make sure you actually calculate the numbers and the cost before you commit. Because you don't want to put a strain on your business by trying to do something good that's really going to come back to hurt you. You don't want to feel like you have to, step away from that cause. And if you stranglehold your growth, especially early on, it's going to prevent you from having the ability to give a lot more in the future. I know of other dentists that have done some programs where pretty insane the things that they commit to. Maybe it costs $100 per new patient or whatever. And all of a sudden you realize like, man, they're going to be really treading water, just trying to get the profitability because they're giving way more than they have to give at that point in time. So do something within reason. For us, that month of dog food that we give, I think it cost about, give or take, $10 per new patient. So we calculated that into, hey, this is what it costs to bring in a new patient from an advertising perspective. This is what it costs. We use a call center. So if they book through the call center, there's a charge there. This is the cost of our hygienist time and supplies. This is the $10 there. Honestly, at the end of the day, new patients are kind of a loss leader, especially if they're doing our $98 new patient special. We're not making money there, but we're not losing a lot of money. And obviously the hope is they're going to do treatment. They're going to refer friends and family. They're going to leave reviews. You're looking at long-term costs, not the cost of that first visit type of thing. But again, just keep it within reason. Make sure you actually understand the numbers. Make sure you know how it works, because you don't want to end up hurting your business trying to do something good. So that would be a piece of advice. Once you've figured it out and you kind of have an idea of what this process looks like, you kind of create the partnership, you create the name, make sure you tell patients about it. We try to get patients involved in the process. We make them, especially if they come in and they're a dog lover, an animal lover themselves, we always try to get, the reason how they found us or why they came in. There are a lot of patients that say that they heard about our No Hungry Pets program and decided to try our practice because of that. So you still have to deliver a great patient experience. You still need to have good reviews online. You still need to have a well-kept, clean office. All that stuff's important. If you do something good, it literally can lead to more patients coming to find you, especially people that think the same way that you do, that hold the same cause as important and all that stuff.
Can you quantify how many meals you've given dogs, or can you quantify what it's been over the last 3 years? Or I'm curious what you've given, if you're comfortable sharing that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We used to kind of count. We had a tally when we were only at the first office and the second office. We kind of had like a tally going for how many months of food. And when we had pre-ordered these things, it kind of capped out at the top number was like 5,000 months of food or something like that. And we haven't ordered any more at this point in time with so many offices. We don't necessarily keep a running tally. We typically just do donations once or twice a year, larger donations. We attend the Humane Society's annual gala. And so this is really cool too. So not only do we have this ongoing daily program that we help support the Humane Society with, but we're partnered with, they have a big charity gala event every single fall. It's called the Tuxes and Tails event, or Tails and Tuxes. I can never remember which way that it starts, but basically it's a big formal black tie charity gala that the Humane Society puts on to raise money every single fall. And we book like 3 to 4 at this point VIP tables. We invite all of our teams to come to it. This year, I'm actually going to be renting a limo or 2 for people that are interested in riding the event in style. And the whole team gets to dress up. We get to go out for a good cause. There's charity auctions. People will adopt pets that night. So we've had people from our organization take dogs and cats home from the event. We take group photos and everything too. So it's a really, really cool team bonding event for a great cause that's tied to our charity give back, our partnership, our No Hungry Pets program. So it really does come full circle for the entire team. And the team gets excited about, going to it every single year. Obviously I've gone, each year for the last 4 years, but we've had other team members that have been with us that have gone every year for the last couple of years too. So.
Let's wrap this one up. Yeah, I think giving is good for your soul. It's good for a lot of things. I think it's good to be part of the community. Like, you have a network now from going to the galas and stuff where people know who you are. It is kind of part of the ground marketing plan too, because you're investing directly in the community. You're navigating the human terrain of the environment you're in and building human equity with these organizations. So, guys, as you grow, giving is a really good thing. Dr. Vallo has given a lot. I know a lot of docs that are really charitable. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, like, subscribe, share. We don't allow sponsorships. No one can pay to play to get on Dental Unfiltered. This is here for you and the betterment of the community. Thank you guys and have a great day.